What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. I know it's been a while since I posted one of these. Honestly, some life things just kind of got to me, but we're back, we're good, we're all set, and we're ready to get back to it. Today we're going to be installing some K-tuned adjustable upper control arms in the TSX, otherwise known as Camber kits. So let me show you guys what we're working with. Alright guys, so here we are with the right side control arm. As you can see, there is an adjustable plate here. There's some Allen screws that you can undo to adjust how far the top of the wheel is going to be. So this is going to be really nice in the future if we end up with some wider wheels that need some camber to fit, or if we just want to get a nice track alignment with a little bit more front camber for grip. It should be a pretty easy install, so let's get this thing jacked up safely and get to work. Alright guys, so we're going to be starting here on the passenger side. This was definitely the worst of the two sides. This actually looks pretty straightforward. We got our ball joint up front, and then we have a small little bolt here for our, I believe that's ABS sensor, or speed sensor. It's a sensor. And then the two big boys are way back behind the spring in there. So there's one there, and then there's one in there, right up there as well. So we're gonna start up front. We're gonna do the small guy first, then the ball joint, and then we're gonna do the guys in the back. Let's get to work. Alright guys, so we have everything loose. Unfortunately, we are running into a little bit of a problem here though. Our bolts aren't quite clearing the back of our coilover, so we are going to want to open up our engine bay, and we're going to drop the coilover down just to get a little bit of clearance, and we'll button everything back up. Alright guys, so we did have to drop the coilover out, which really wasn't a big deal. It's only a couple bolts here up top on the strut tower, and then just the one down here on the fork as well. Whole thing dropped out. We got plenty of room now to move this around, and we got that arm out. So we're gonna do everything in reverse now, put the new stuff in and tighten it all up, and then we'll move on to the other side. Alright guys, so there's actually one more thing that we're going to want to check before we install the new arm. Now I already measured this, but what I wanted to check was the distance between this ball joint stud and where it's going to mount on the car. And the reason for that is that's going to affect our alignment, that's going to affect our camber. So what I'm going to try and do is just get it as close to the stock alignment as possible. I had no fitment issues or anything like that. I do like a little more camber up front, but I'm not too worried about that right now. I'll let the alignment shop handle that. So as you guys can see, this ball joint is pretty straight here. It's not crooked or anything. And if I hook the stud here and go to the center, kind of hard to see. Okay, well the camera's doing weird things, but it's 9 inches. Now if we go over here, and this is going to be a little tougher to show because the ball joint's messed up. I'm going to do the same thing, straighten this one out, hook it on the stud, measure back, and we got 9 inches here as well. So these should be pretty close to the stock setting. Now like I said, I do prefer a little bit of front camber when it comes to driving these cars spiritedly, but we can just let the alignment shop take care of that. Let's get this thing back in here. Alright guys, so that is going to be side one all done. So what we did was, I looked up some 7th gen Accord specs for torque. This guy back here ended up being 47, I'm sorry. This guy up here was between 29 and 30, so I torqued it to 29 and then just moved it enough to fit the cotter pin in there. This guy up here, tight as tight. I mean, just don't want that sensor to fall off. And then these guys back here, both of them, I ended up using the bicep meter on those. Just a little bit too tight of a squeeze for the torque wrench, so I was able to break both loose with my hand, so I just went hand tight, pretty tight, just about all I could do as far as force without adding like a breaker bar or anything like that. So we are good to go. We're gonna move on to the other side. The only thing that's not tightened down all the way, like I said, is our strut tower. We're gonna wanna let the car down and let it settle before we tighten those up. So we're just gonna come on over here to the other side where we have our driver's side control arm. Now, the reason why I did this was because the passenger side was really bad. I probably could leave this in here, but why would I do that when I have another K-tuned adjustable control arm? So I'm gonna show you guys a magic trick. And there we go guys, side number 2 is all done. Now it is a little bit later. Time to throw the wheels on this thing, tighten down the strut towers, and I would love to go for a test drive, but I actually have a meeting tonight with an old friend that I'm really excited to talk to. So I don't know if we'll be driving this thing tonight, but I definitely want to check the alignment too, because it looks like this might be a little bit positive up front, definitely on the left. So I don't know, we'll throw the wheels on, we'll let it down, tighten up the coilovers, and then we should be able to take a look at the alignment. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for our upper control arm install on the TSX. All that's left to do is to, actually I wanted to show you guys something first. So if you look at the steering wheel over here, it's pointed to the right pretty hard, and this wheel is like dead straight. But if I go to the other side over here, this wheel, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it's pointed out pretty aggressively. So, oh, there you go. You can see that pretty well. So when I straighten the wheel, what's going to happen is this one's going to straighten, and then that one's going to go out a little bit, so I think they're both going to be out. So I think what that means is that this car is going to have pretty aggressive toe out, which is all right. We're taking this thing for an alignment soon anyway. For now, let's close this thing up, clean up, and hopefully go for a test drive tonight. If not, we'll go right early in the morning. All right guys, so we're here next morning. This is gonna be our test drive with the new upper control arms. I think this should be the last piece of the puzzle in getting the front end to feel nice and tight on this car. So we're just gonna go for a drive. We're actually gonna go over to Uncle Tim's for a little bit, see what's going on over there, and hopefully this thing is good. So, okay, so the steering wheel feels lighter. That's a good thing. I found that when the ball joints, ooh, shit, buckled weird. Must have settled. Yeah, I think something just settled. I'm just gonna drive around a little bit, nice and slow here before I go ripping on the road. Did hear a little clunk. All right, so this car needs an alignment really, really bad. Like I almost don't even want to drive it like this. Jeez, and I don't want to film because this thing falls all the time. So I will get back to you guys in a minute. All right guys, so we made it. Not gonna lie to you guys, I did have another sketchy little clunk. I think it was just the suspension settling, but I was going around a rotary, I was turning to the left, so the weight was on the right side of the car, and I heard a clunk, and the wheel got like super loose for a second, and now the alignment's different, so this is actually straight now. So I don't think that everything was like correctly settled, so. I have a question for you.
I don't have any answers these days.
I put some upper control arms in my car, and I was driving around and I heard a big old clunk and my steering wheel got light for a second and it felt like the alignment changed. You think that's like, should I bolt check it or is it just settling?
Oh no, I'd check it just to be sure.
All right, I'm gonna borrow some tools then if you don't mind. Cool. All right guys, so we're here in Uncle Tim's garage. We got the TSX pulled apart once again. I did find what happened, what settled, and let me show you guys because this is really important if you end up installing these arms yourself. Make sure that you tighten down these camber plates up here up top because as you guys can see, it shifted while I was driving and that's why my alignment changed. So definitely gonna hit all of these Allen keys on both sides and make sure that it's nice and tight before I go driving around. Like I said, the alignment shop is gonna wanna do these again when they get everything straight, but for now, I'm just gonna make sure that it's tight so I don't die. All right guys, so side 2 is actually worse than the first side. It cambered way in. I noticed that when I pulled up, I probably should have put it in the vlog, that the wheel had a lot more camber than when I left. We definitely found the root cause of that, which is our loose camber plates. So lesson learned guys, if you put in aftermarket control arms, especially adjustable ones, make sure everything's tight from the factory because you don't want to be like me and driving around and having your alignment shift on you. All right guys, so we are on test drive number 2 of the day. The car feels way better. The alignment is way closer. I'll show you guys that in a second. But I'm super happy with how this turned out. These arms are definitely a little stiffer than the OEM ones, but it feels really good. So I'm super stoked. Let me show you guys how the alignment's looking. So this is straight now. The car's still jumping around, definitely still needs an alignment, but it is way better than what it was like when we left the house. So I am super stoked. I actually have a long ride ahead of me. We're headed out to see my grandparents, so a little bit of a ride. Super stoked to be driving this thing again. I don't know, it's just been a good day. So guys, if you made it this far, I genuinely appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below, subscribe for more just like it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.